Origi!
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Liverpool Way podcast. We've just lost our second Premier League game in a row to a last gasp winner, and that makes it 3 defeats in 7 days. The results have been bad, but it's the nature of the performances and the desperation of some of the changes that are really ringing the alarm bells. I'm Dave Usher, editor at liverpoolway.co.uk, and joining me for this one are Ian Brown and a somewhat shell-shocked Paul Natton. Okay, Paul, I know it's, an hour after the game's finished, but I know you've been absolutely chomping at the bit to have you say, so, yep, you can kick us off. Go on, away you go.
Oh, I'm fucking fuming. Fuck me, we're in trouble. We've got serious fucking problems, seriously. What an absolute fucking shit show of a week. Fuck me. 3 defeats on the bounce, every single one of them an incomprehensible fucking mess. What the fuck are we trying to do? What the fuck are we trying to do? Does anyone know what we're trying to do, including the manager? Honest to God, it's just the idea that, like, I've heard people talk about this player and that player, and it's about Mo, it's about Kirkes, it's about fucking take your pick, Maka, whoever. No, I'm fucking sorry. You don't have 20 members of a fucking squad all out of form at the same time. It's an incomprehensible fucking mess, and it is very, very fucking worrying. The noise on the back of this fucking horrendous week is going to be absolutely unbearable, and then you're going to have the problem that this will get into the players' heads. We've got big problems, boys. We've got really fucking big problems.
What kind of noise do you mean, Paul?
I mean the whole, like, Liverpool in crisis noise. The whole, they spent all this money on these players who are shit noise. We've got a 24-hour football news media that want stories, and we've just fucking handed them. And absolutely, this will be international break. This will be up until the international games at the very least, absolutely dominating the news agenda, and then it'll come back again after the internationals are gone. And that's the sort of noise that some of these players will struggle to deal with. I just do not know what the fuck we're trying to do. We can't defend, we seemingly can't score anymore, and the midfield is a fucking shit show. What the fuck's going on? What the fuck is going on? We seem to have gone from being a club that deals with injuries brilliantly to coming out of today. We've got all kinds of injuries. The number one keeper's out. Looks like Robbo's crocked. Maka, I don't know what the fuck's up with Maka, but he's clearly not fully fit. Isak, apparently he's got the longest ever pre-season in the history of fucking football. Honestly, I am worried. And you know where my head was at before the season, during the season, but we're in danger of the wheels coming off a little bit here. He's got a big job of work on his hands here to just to stem the tide, which is flowing in exactly the wrong direction, and get us a little bit settled. I don't know where he starts. I really don't know where he starts. I'm not sure he's helped himself with his interview. Even though you could say,
what's he said? I've not seen.
Even though you could say factually everything he said is correct. You know, we had a good start. They came back into it. We had a couple of good chances. It was unlucky. It became end to end. Started the second half well. Became end to end at the end, and then we had an opportunity. Then they did, and then he drew parallels with the previous games. The bottom line is that the small margins are all going against us, and that is a factor of the very, very bizarre performances. What are we trying to do tactically? What the fuck are we trying to do tactically? Does anybody know? Why have we signed the most attacking left back in the league and we've got him fucking inverting into the base of the midfield? What the fuck is going on? It's absolutely bizarre. Why have we basically picked one fullback on the left hand side for 10 games on the bounce, and we've had 3 fullbacks, one of whom is maybe our best midfielder, playing right back? It's absolutely incoherent. Why the fuck did Konate keep his place today when he was an absolute joke in the week? Boys, I'm honestly, you know how positive I am. My default position is positivity. I always see the bright side. I'm really fucking worried, really worried. And what's worrying me is I don't know what he's trying to do. Do any of you know what he's trying to do? I've got no idea what he's trying to do.
I don't know. I don't know what the plan is. I was hoping that with the signings that we got in the summer, that we were going to go a little bit back to the previous way of playing, where you'd have your fullbacks bombing on, you'd have loads of energy, it'd be about, turnovers, transition, all that kind of stuff. But we're still seeing this fucking snail's pace build up where the centre halves take 7 touches before they decide what to do, and then they give it to the goalkeeper on his fucking weak foot when he's not even very good at kicking anyway. I mean, early in the game today, 4 or 5 times they laid it back to him onto his right foot. That's like red flag shit. That's like a small detail which
he is quite
you might not pick up on.
He's left-footed primarily, isn't he?
You can't give him the ball. Look, you saw what he did with his fucking right foot.
No, he's not.
And he's not very good with the ball at his feet anyway. Now, that might seem like a mad thing to pick up on, because, I mean, I don't even know where we start with the issues and how we try to address them, because there was that many of them. But early on in the game, when we were doing that, I was like, what the fuck? And one of the big things for me where we've got to start is we have to be far more aggressive without the ball. We were letting them put balls into the box and not even trying to stop a cross, which is a basic fundamental of football. They kept just picking up the ball in the half space and nobody would go towards the ball. They were just like, yeah, go on, cross it in. They should have scored a goal off one of them. I don't understand it. Like, it is an absolute complete mess. Like, we're too slow in possession when we've got the ball. Their press was miles better than ours. We weren't aggressive enough to try and win the ball back. Midfield was shit, just giving the ball away constantly.
Horrific.
We got Natton out of Mo again. Gakpo was fucking shite, goal aside. I personally think Ekitike should be starting up front instead of Isak. If he's not fit and he's not ready, Hugo's like the one shining light for me so far. He should be playing. I know he's fucked up when he's got his red card, but assuming he's fit today, he came on and he was bright. He was probably... Again, one of the only good things that came out of the game today was how he did.
Started in midweek, but that opens up a...
Yeah, but don't do that. Like, you can't... there's got to be something here about how people are playing. Like, it goes a bit back to what Paul said about Canate.
No, I agree.
If you put stinking performances in, there's got to be a consequence. There has to be. Like, Joe Gomez should get a game. I don't like this rotation at the fullback, same as Paul.
So just on that quickly, what you just said there about... Ekitike and Isak, the way, and I'm saying that the logic behind it as well. Isak started last week, Ekitike plays midweek, so then Isak comes back in. Now that's the logic behind that, right? Where all that falls down completely is at left back. And have you seen his quotes about that? About Kerkez, why he took Kerkez off today?
Yeah, because he's not used to 3 games in a week.
Milos was more and more tired. He played 90 minutes in 2 games and now in the 3rd game, which he's not used to. So why the fuck are you not starting Robbo in midweek? Which is what we've been saying anyway. Like, every game we always talk about the next game. We say, oh, what's the team going to be? And we're always saying about rotating the fullbacks because that's how it is. It's like, you're keeping them fresh, not overplaying someone, and you're keeping everyone involved. How are we rotating 3 right backs and fucking Kerkez is playing every single
One of the right backs is a fucking midfielder.
Well, that's another thing.
He had Vincent on the bench, so what's the fucking point?
The 2 best midfield players, what we've had all season, because I'm discounting Maka because he's just not at it. So Dom has probably been our best player all season, along with Virgil. Dom and Gravenberch. Gravenberch's probably our 3rd best player. You can make a case maybe second, whatever. But Dom and Gravenberch are 2 best midfield players, 2 of our best players overall.
Finished the game in the back 4.
Yeah, 1 at right back, 1 at centre back. It's like, it just defies belief what's going on. It's like he's just fucking throwing shit at a wall.
Exactly. What is he doing?
The Gravenberch one, for me, I actually didn't mind it. Now, the reason was they were letting Canate have the ball. They weren't even trying to press him at all. And he was terrible with the ball. So when he put Grav back there, I thought he was either doing it to make them press Grav, which is going to give you some room in midfield, or if they don't press Grav, that's going to allow him to start picking passes or driving into the space. And I thought he did that quite a lot.
I don't think he did it. I don't think he did.
I thought he did.
And I'm not blaming him for the winning goal, but when I looked at that, as Cucurella, I think it was Cucurella who made the overlap and run and put the cross in, wasn't he?
Yeah, it was, yeah.
So as he plays the 1-2 and he's making the run, Gravenberch's just stood still holding the line, and he's not playing the runner. Now, for all Kanate's faults, I think Kanate deals with that differently.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, because he's a centre half and he's got that defensive instinct. Now, you don't know whether Verge is shouting behind him, hold the line or something. That it could be something like that. Because I was hoping it was offside, to be honest. That was the one little bit of hope that I had, because it looked tight, but it wasn't on the replay. No, but I mean, it is a mess at the minute. It's an absolute mess. I don't understand what we're trying to do in games. It feels like we're trying to just play chess with every single team.
The players don't know either, though, do they? The players are absolutely bewildered.
It looks that way.
Well, it's a big red flag.
The gaps that are everywhere. They don't know. They've no idea what's going on.
Every game, Paul, we're making changes like either at half time or early in the second half, and we're making a raft of changes in every game, and we're not doing it to keep people fresh. We're doing it because it's not working.
Yeah, plugging the gaps.
I mean, you're looking at like a couple of games. So Everton, Atletico Madrid, and probably Bournemouth. These are games where we didn't get the starting lineup wrong, and we didn't have to make changes. Pretty much every other game, it feels like. I know personally, we're like 15 minutes into the game, and I'm already like going, right, get him off. He needs to come on. This is just not working. And that's me overreacting, but it's not, Dave, totally unfounded either.
The mad thing today, touching back on what Brownie said before, you just reminded me there with your point about 15 minutes. The first 10 minutes, the intensity and the aggression was there. That is Liverpool. Yeah. That's Liverpool. Why are we trying to move away from that? Sweep teams away, especially when you've got individuals of the quality that we've got. Look at the quality of individuals in that squad. They're as good as anybody in Europe. Why the fuck are we cagey? We're playing this cagey shit. It doesn't suit us. Now, I'm not dismissing the tactical approach. I'm not dismissing. I mean, I've advocated the quality of this league more than anybody on here over the last couple of years, and how good other coaches are, and how tactically, from top to bottom, astute pretty much every other club is. But at the end of the day, football is about players, and it's about talent, and it's about quality. And we've got the top 2 scorers in the league last season in the team on the pitch today. We've got a team full of winners who've won everything in the game. Fucking get out there and absolutely twat teams. We're Liverpool. If this summer was not about saying we're Liverpool and we want to dominate, what the fuck was it about? I do not understand what he is thinking at all. It's a massive, massive, massive worry for me. My gut told me last season that things were not as I wanted them to be, but my head was saying, you're wrong, look at what's happening on the pitch. And there's absolutely no argument with that title win last season. It was fantastic. Slot had a great season. He got all the key decisions right. And yet, my gut is telling me the same thing again about the football that we're playing. If you look at every single great Liverpool team in our lifetimes, there's no point looking back at the pre-back pass and all of that, because it was a different sport. But if you look at every single great Liverpool team in our lifetimes, it's about attacking, fast, aggressive, intense football. This controlled shit is exactly that.
Because we haven't got control. That's like, it's not even. It doesn't even work. True.
But I say he's aiming for control. I don't know what he's aiming for. I mean, again, I just want to refocus us on that point about Kirkes. Why do we sign the most attacking left back in the Premier League last season, who is Premier League ready? He understands the league. He understands what it takes, and then he's inverting in the first half. What the fuck?
Even if you take the inverting, because that only happens occasionally, but even if you leave that aside, if he's not doing that, he's still just
he's knocking it back to Virgil.
He's sitting in as he's not playing like the way he played for Bournemouth and what we thought we were getting. He's not doing that, and I don't blame Kirkes one little bit for that. He's playing the way he's told to play. He's even
none of this is on individuals, regardless of the vagaries of form.
The thing is, Paul, that's fine if that's your tactical setup and that's what you want to play. That's fine. But why are you not signing somebody who plays like that? The lads who that Hinsappi, he's that Hatto who went to Chelsea. Hinsappi, he's another one who plays that way. Why are you not going for that profile of player rather than like the flying machine overlapping fullback? I don't get
Ironically though, like in the game today, the one moment Kirkes did have that when he was in the box and he should have shot. I don't even know what he was trying to do. It is a rarity to see him in there.
Full on left back, didn't he? And just shit himself and tried to.
He just did a robbo, didn't he? Yeah. No, that was frustrating for me, because like we definitely don't see enough of that from him. It feels like we're only allowed to really overlap down the right hand side. Seems like he just has to sit there, which I don't really get. And as you say, we should have just got like the kind of player who can also play centre half as a left back if that's what you're gonna do. What confuses me, and all last year, I mean, I was on here being critical of the football and got loads of stick for it, and so did you, Paul. And I agree with everything you've said there, that the title win was fantastic. It was completely earned. I always liked what Slot had to say about football, and it felt like he was complaining a little bit about the players weren't doing the things that he wanted to do.
He complained
so
as
when
much
he's gone
as we
out,
did.
Yeah, and then when he's gone out and signed these players, you think, right, okay, now we're going to see. But I'm seeing the same stuff, and he's still saying that what he said last year, and I'm like, is he taking us for mugs, or is he being truthful and the players aren't listening? I'm really confused about it. I don't understand, because he talks a fantastic game. I'm in complete agreement with what comes out of his mouth. Yeah, I don't like what I see from his team on the pitch. I don't get it. It doesn't make sense. Try to explain it to me.
I mean, even if it is the players not delivering what he wants, it's on him to make them deliver what he wants. That is the very definition of his job. His job is to make them play the football that he wants to play. So it all comes back to him for me, and I'm fucking fuming with him. I'm absolutely fuming with him. It's an incoherent mess. I wouldn't mind if I could see green shoots. What a shithouse move to not play Wirtz at the start today. Absolutely steaming about that, and everyone has got worries about Wirtz. You know, Jules has mentioned Varane in the chat, and to be honest, who could possibly argue with that right now? That has to be a worry in everyone's minds. But the bottom line is, if you lash that amount of money on a player of that quality and winning record, he has won big. You know what I mean? He's played great football, and he's also got a little bit of snide to him as well. So even though he's looked like a fanny sometimes, he's not a complete fanny. But why the fuck is he not starting?
I didn't have.
You either want to
integrate
him or you don't want to integrate him. What the fuck are we doing?
Yeah, I didn't have a massive problem with it.
I see both sides, but I do lean towards I can see a reason to not pick him, but I think you should just pick him. I think
you've got to, Dave.
Yeah, I agree. You've got to get him firing. And in fairness, although he wasn't great today, it's been overblown, like how bad he's been.
Definitely.
Like, he has created plenty of chances that have not been put away. Like, that flick today was fucking sensational, and then Mo just completely
the finish was awful. There's been a lot of that, like even in Galatasaray, there was 2 or 3 like brilliant bits of play from him where the forwards just completely fucked it up right at the end. And the narrative changes, doesn't it? You know what I mean? If a couple of them are goals, everyone's like, oh, look at this creative player that we've got now.
That's what I'm saying.
But he is struggling as well. Both of those things are true. He's doing some good things, good bits and bobs, and then he'll just inexplicably do something really shit, and you're thinking, hang on, how can you go from being that good to like that? It's almost a bit like Mo, innit? You see that from Mo, where like the highs are unbelievable, but the lows.
I think I can explain how they go from that. They go from Shinola to shit because they don't know what they're doing, and the whole team is confused. The patterns of play are not there. The understanding with each other is not there. They're changing. The instructions are changing on a game by game or moment by moment basis in the game. They are confused. I just say again, it defies belief that 18, 19, 20 individual players are all losing form at the same time. It's on the manager. Now, having said, I just think that's just inarguable. How the fuck can it? It's just illogical that it could be anything else. Now, having said that, his track record is such that you look at him and you think, well, he could still easily sort this out. You know, he's a winner. He's won wherever he's been. He's used to a situation in Holland where he's had big turnover in his squads. He's lost players every season and brought more in and integrated them. He has withstood the massive pressure of following Jurgen Klopp and coming into a much, much better league than the one he was used to and winning. So all the tools are there, and as Brownie said before, and Dave, you said it all the time last season. At some point last season, it was what was keeping me going when I was concerned about what I was seeing on the pitch. He says exactly what I'm seeing sometimes, and he identifies the problems. But we need the solutions as well. We need to see we need to see him coming up with a plan and inputting that plan and the plan working. And we have gone from what I felt was. And I feel an idiot now. I've gone from looking at those results where we were winning, and I'm thinking, brilliant, we're doing this despite all the things that are in the way. i.e. all this change, all these new players, that bodes really well. In actual fact, it looks like it was exactly what the narrative was saying, is that we just couldn't, it was unsustainable, and that it would turn the other way eventually. And well, it fucking has, hasn't it?
Last minute goals against us, yeah.
Three defeats in a week. Fuck me.
2 of them with the last kick of the game, which is what we were doing to other teams.
It's fucking bad.
Yeah.
Three defeats in a week is bad.
None of them were unlucky or undeserved either. That's the thing, because it's you can't just dismiss it and go, well, yeah, we're playing pretty well, and sometimes you don't get the run of the ball. No, forget the results. What I'm seeing is worrying.
Exactly.
And I would have thought that around about now is when we would start to. I'm not saying we'd be in our full stride by now, but I would have thought that it would be better now than it was in the first couple of weeks of the season. Because the first couple of weeks of the season, don't forget, we had some really difficult fixtures. So on paper you go, oh, it's only Bournemouth, but look where Bournemouth are. Bournemouth have had great results so far this season, so that's one of the toughest games you're going to have. Then away at Newcastle, we've had Arsenal, we've had a derby game, so you can sort of make allowances for not playing stunning football all the way through. It's well, we're bedding in new players, these are really difficult fixtures, and then you come to this week. Now, okay, Palace is a tricky game. The first half was an absolute shit show last week. It was horrific. I thought we played relatively well in the second half. That we've done all right in the second half, but we were lucky to not be 3-0 down by that point anyway. Then you go to Galatasaray, and I'm not having it that they're anything other than shit. Now, okay, it's a tough place to go because of the crowd, the atmosphere and all that, but that was not a tough game for us to play in. There was space everywhere. It wasn't like playing Burnley where everyone's behind the ball and you've got all of the ball, but it's where do we go with it? There's no gaps. That's not what that was the other night. There was opportunities for us to do plenty the other night, and we just kept fucking messing it up. So that was a terrible performance. And then today, again, I'm not having it that Chelsea are any good. Chelsea probably deserved to win that purely because the way they finished the game.
Yeah.
They were the ones pushing for that goal, despite all by the end of the game, they had fucking Tim Lovejoy and fucking Suggs playing in the back four, and we still couldn't put any sort of pressure on them. And they started the game with that clowning goal, a fucking 18-year-old centre-back, and that Badiashvili or whatever he's called, Badiashile. He's fucking 4th or 5th choice for them in that position. So you look at that and go, okay, well, we've got a fucking £130 million striker here against a fucking teenager and a squad player, and behind them is that fucking shit goalkeeper. And did we test that goalkeeper? We barely had a shot. It was just, how are we not creating stuff?
We did have chances, and we had shots.
We didn't have anywhere near as many chances as we should be having against that back line.
Especially
sporadic
in the last 15.
little chances here and there, but in terms of what we were up against, and I'm not blaming Isak specifically for that. I know I'm being flippant saying £130 million striker up against them. I'm not specifically blaming him because I'm the one who's been saying for since the start of last season, this is not a number 9 friendly team. It just isn't, and everyone thought that was me defending Darwin. It was never about Darwin. It was about whoever played number 9. And Isak, he had 4 touches the other night against Galatasaray. Come on, and he touched the ball 4 times, something like that. It's what are we doing here? Even today, on the odd occasion when we got him the ball in any sort of decent area, he looked like he was a threat. I thought he started the game looking really sharp. His touch was there, his movement, but we apart from the header, we created nothing for him. And that's a problem. Now, Ekitike's the only one who really bucks that trend. But a lot of what Ekitike does, he's doing it himself. Dropping deep, picking it up, playing a 1-2, scoring. This is that's not what the other number 9s have done. He's doing his own thing and he's been really good at it, to be fair to him. But this is just not a team that's number 9 friendly. So I thought, okay, well, we're signing Isak, so obviously there's going to be a big change there in terms of how we're going to play. You're bringing in Wirtz as the creator to play just off him, and in your head you're going, yeah, Kenny and Rushy, that kind of thing. Now, they've not really played together much at this point, so you can't really judge that. But the way the team's playing, I don't know what we're doing. It's like what you were saying. I don't see what the plan is. The things that we were doing well last year, we're not doing. The pressing, there's I know we complained about the tempo last year, but there was times when we did step it up and play at a higher tempo, and we usually look good when we do that. We're not really doing that. when we do try to do it and go forward, we're getting caught on counter-attacks and we're wide open. Teams are playing through the midfield. You know, we've had like problems with Kanate especially, but Conor Bradley's getting booked every time he plays now. You know, he's having to be subbed all the time because
he's getting targeted booked as well.
Yeah, because he's on a yellow card, so teams are just targeting him.
Looks rash as fuck.
There's, you know, Frimpong can't even get on the pitch. It's like, well, what's going on?
Do you know the whole midfield thing? I thought earlier in the season the fluidity of the three midfielders was a strength. Now it's starting to look like a massive fucking weakness. You know, like Gravenberch pushing forward and moving into attacking positions with the ball. If that leaves Maka as the one who's back, he hasn't got the physicality to cope. No. If we're going to play with a much more fluid midfield like that, which I think is probably the way to go, you need a monster like fucking Caicedo in there. Can we go back to the fucking ghost pod and
I don't
and get a different outcome, please? Because he was absolutely fucking brilliant today. If you're going to play that like rotating 2 or 3 in there where players are dropping in, you need a pair of absolute monsters. And I fucking love Maka. What a great player he is. But he is not a monster in that sense. Mentally he is. His resilience and his focus in a game. But to cover the ground, he hasn't got that in his game. He's not someone who can eat up the yards in the way that you need if you're playing a very, very fluid all up and all back system like that. There's too many gaps, and those were exploited today. Maka was basically, for their goal, the first goal, it was basically 2-on-1. He made a wrong choice, and then he didn't have the legs to get back. Then Virgil got sold the wrong way by Caicedo, who scores an absolute fucking peach. But it's about that physicality. If you want to have that more fluid midfield, you need to have the legs and the physicality in there as well as the class. And
I don't understand why we've
if we haven't got that, then we need to revert to what. Yeah, exactly, Brownie. Revert to what we were doing before.
I don't get it. Like, so when Grav was saying after the Everton game that he's got licence now to start like going all over the pitch, you're thinking, well, why have they made that change? What have they seen that's made them say, right, our 6 can go where he wants now and somebody else will just go in and cover for them?
I think they felt he was getting found out in man mark, didn't they? But and it was about pulling the man markers out. We get man marked a lot, don't we?
He was getting that.
Yeah, but the flip side of it is that's going to create other issues, and you're there, and you need the capacity to deal with those. I mean, I would have had Curtis in there ahead of Maka today by a mile. By an absolute mile.
Maka's just nowhere near it. And today, I thought he threw in an all-time stinker. I thought he couldn't do a thing right. It was so bad. Horrific. And it's a fucking miracle he stayed on the pitch as long as he did. And then eventually he brings Endo on for him, like 5 minutes to go or whatever it was. By that point, just leave him on. You should have took him off ages ago. That ship's sailed now. But you're bringing Endo on with 5 minutes to go. No, it should have been made earlier. And how Chiesa's not getting on in that game again is, once again, it just adds to like the conspiracy theories about what's his problem with Chiesa, because I'm sure we were all thinking he needs to be coming on, and instead we got Endo. And you know, Endo for Maka, I've got no problem with that, but that change has got to be made much sooner, or just don't bother to let it go as long as it did, with Maka playing as badly as he did, and then bring him off for a few minutes to go.
Especially considering we got back into the game now. We've equalised, and like everybody
that's what I mean. By then, don't
who's
change
watching
it.
That game, everybody watching
point.
that game with 15 minutes to go thinks there's only one team that's going to win here. Like, everybody's thinking that. So why are you then suddenly doing these defensive changes towards the end of the game?
Yeah,
I think he done it because it turned into a basketball game for some reason. Like, I reckon he thought they were just going to sit in and try and hold on to a point because they had issues with personnel and everything. And they didn't. They were going for it. But we just didn't react to it in the right way. We allowed it to be this like basketball game, back and forth. And the problem you've got there is a puncher, you know what I mean? Any puncher just needs to land one and then you're done. And that's what happened. Like, he got asked that question afterwards by the interviewer, and that was the key question for me, is like, when you equalised and went into the last part of the game where they've had to take players off and they've got all these different like backup players on, why were they the ones who looked like they were going to win the game and not your team? And he dodged it. He didn't like answer it because maybe he doesn't know. He'll have to go and watch it back. But that's a massive,
which is fair enough.
Problem now.
In the moment, I've got no problem with him not really wanting to answer something like that, because when he watches it back, I'd like to think then he will have the answers. I don't expect him to, at the time, immediately know everything.
No, but it's a fair question. Like, he didn't even address that. He just then went off on one talking about something that had happened in the game. Whereas, like, everybody's thinking the same thing.
No, it is a fair question.
Like, why's that happened? I mean, you could argue it's because he's fucked about so much with the personnel that if you look at the midfield that started the game and then the midfield that ends the game, it's just completely different. Like, how can you have any cohesion?
And the back four?
Yeah, it's just all over the place.
Do you know? Let me just come back on that, Brownie, because my issue is not so much with changing the personnel, because I feel we needed to rotate. We should have rotated last season, and it pissed me off that he wouldn't bring players like Harvey in when it was obvious that Legs were going to pay the price for just sticking with the same 11 every week. Now, obviously, he rolled that dice and he won the league, so fucking hell, he absolutely smashed that argument. But then you bring in all these new players now, ostensibly to massively strengthen your squad. But that surely should be, you have a tactical approach, you've signed players who can deliver your tactical approach, and the tactical approach stays the same. What is the tactical approach? Does anybody fucking know? I keep asking this question. I don't know what we're trying to do.
We don't know.
So if you're changing the players, I want him to change the players. That's what elite football has to be about. If you want to challenge for everything, and by the way, when you're spending going on £500 million in one window, you need to be going for all 4 fucking competitions. It's obscene enough as it is without it just being like a frippery that you can just do with just blink and say, oh well, missed out this season. You've got to be seriously challenging. So if that's what you're going for, then there needs to be a coherent plan that all 20 odd players fully understand, and they come in and they go out as and when, and they understand what their role is when they come in. But that's not what we're seeing. You both covered that point already. There's wild, crazy substitutions at mad times that are just about like filling gaps and like changing the approach and adapting to what's happening in the game. There doesn't seem to be anything strategic about it at all. It's a massive, massive worry. I don't think the players know what he wants them to do either. That's the biggest worry. And that's why I come back to my point. There's no way this is about individual form of 20 different players. It's about what the manager's asking them to do. They are confused. And what really worries me now is on the back of 3 defeats, with the noise that's going to be around them, is it'll get into their heads and it's going to be even harder to pull out of.
Well, it's a chicken and the egg, though. You're saying it's down to what Slot's telling them to do. That's what's causing the players to perform the way they are. But you can also make the argument that players performing the way they are making Slot have to make all of these changes and substitutions because it's not going the way he wants it to go.
They came off the back of 5 wins.
I know, but it's the performances weren't great, as like we've said. You know, they were patchy.
Exactly.
There was some good, there was some bad, and now it's not good. But some players have not played well all season. Others
if
have
it was
played
2 or
really
3
well.
or 4 or 5 players, I'd be with you. It's all of them. Virgil's had a wobble in the last couple of days. The only player that's absolutely above any criticism right now in my mind is Dom.
I agree.
Every other player has had, to a greater or lesser degree, a dip in form.
And Dom's getting shunted about all over the place as well, so that's frustrating. Just let him play in midfield. He's our best midfield player at the moment. Let him play in midfield. Stop moving him around to number 10, then playing right back. Just let him play.
Yeah, I agree. He needs to be playing as the 8 and just leave him there because that suits him down to the ground. I mean, the right back thing made sense when we had injury problems there, but now you've got both your right backs to choose from. He shouldn't be going in there at all.
Even though he is our best right back, but that's not the point. You know, that's down to the others. They've got to come in and perform. You've got to put your trust in them rather than constantly subbing one and putting Dom there. You know, if you're making the change with Conor Bradley, I understand that. He's on a yellow card.
Should be Frimpong coming on now.
Exactly. You paid money for him. You paid good money for him. He was like one of the best attacking right backs in Europe. And now you're looking at him and you're not trusting him to play. There's just a lot of things that, like, you know, there's so many questions and very few answers at the moment. But that kind of comes down to, you know, I'm seeing like, you know, the tactics video lads that are putting stuff out, and Adam Cleary had one, Josh Williams has done stuff, and it's like, if they're seeing these things, obviously Slot sees it and knows, so surely he's going to be able to fix it. Like, you've got to cling to that and think, well, he knows more than all with due respect, like these lads on YouTube and that. He knows more than they do, you know. So
cling is the word, though, Dave, because there's no. You're right. It's absolutely crazy to think he's not seeing all. I mean, he is seeing all these things. Of course, he is. You know, it'd be ridiculous to suggest that he's not. But what's worrying me is that I don't see any sense of a coherent plan for addressing it. It changes all the time within games. It's just mad. That start today, the first 10 minutes I thought, oh, sound. We've turned up, big away game, chips are down, we've lost 2 on the bounce, we know we need a result, we looked aggressive, we looked front-footed, we were playing with tempo, all the things that good Liverpool teams do all the time, and then it just fucking fizzled out.
Yeah, we conceded, and then same as the other night, we started all right against Galatasaray as well. We were doing what you would want to do, silence the crowd. We had a few runs in behind where it looked like we were going to do something, and then, you know, it's never a penalty in a million years, which, as we saw today, the exact same thing happened, and like no penalty was given, rightly so. But, you know, we conceded, and then that just knocked us out of our stride then, and it was just a slog.
We only seem to be able to play in patches, though, don't we?
Yeah,
I mean,
even
when was
when
the last
we're good,
time you look at
when we're good, it's like that. It's
even
not,
when we win a game, it's like a good 20 minutes, or maybe we were shy first half, but we reacted and we're a bit better second half. When was the last time you can look at a performance and go, you know what, that was good for 90 minutes? And it doesn't have to be amazing for 90 minutes.
Most teams are good, and they're going to have a spell. Like, you can be better than that team, but that team is still going to have a spell because they've got good players. And
that wasn't the case last year, though, was it?
How many great 90-minute performances did we put in last year?
Well, early in the season, there was loads. I mean, we fucking battered Man City, Real Madrid, Leverkusen. You know, there were games there where
Slot
we were
said,
really good.
That's because we were underestimated. You know,
But, possibly.
And then once, like, we're running away with the Premier League and we're winning every Champions League match, everyone was like, okay, yeah, we need to play.
So they've adjusted and started sitting deeper and then waiting for us to fucking do what we do, which is get to the edge of the box and then do nothing. In his
press conference, that's what he was talking about, and he was really honest about it, and I agreed with like pretty much everything he said. And he said, like, we scored more set pieces in the second half of last season, and that's what got us through, because we weren't scoring as many goals in open play and it was harder for us. So this goes back to then. He's had this long to figure it out, and that's what's a bit worrying. Now, the only thing that's keeping me going is, okay, he may well have figured it out, but we've got new players now he's got to get it through to the old players. Like, this is what we need to do in these games. But whatever it is that, like, he's trying to do, it's not working. But part of the problem is that every game's different. So what might work against Burnley is not necessarily going to work against Chelsea, because Chelsea didn't sit in and defend the way Burnley did. And like Palace didn't do that either, because Palace were counter-attack and Burnley weren't. So every game is a bit different. It's not like you can just go and just go and do the same thing every week and it's going to work. And I think that's part of the problem as well.
I mean, a week ago we could have gone 8 points clear of Arsenal.
I know.
And now they're a point ahead of us in a fucking week. That's absolutely wild. Listen, I know nobody wants to hear this, and I know people will listen to this and call me all the cunts under the sun, but I'm telling you right now, peak Jurgen Klopp would not have this team playing like this. It's about he who dares. You've got absolute world-class players all across that team. You've got to be bold. What's the point in having this absolute class everywhere you look? Proven class everywhere you look. And they're just playing this circumspect, confused bullshit.
Slow, passive.
Absolutely. You've got to go for it. And as you both said, we've all said, he talks about that all the time. He says that's what he wants.
That's what makes no sense.
Have we ever seen it? Have we ever seen it from him?
He doesn't want, you know, if you take him at face value, and there's no reason not to, like, because he's not going to. Managers were like, if this is not what he wanted, if this is what he wanted, like the style of play, he would say so, because that's what managers do, you know, like, this is how I'm going to play, yeah, I'm going to be cagey, I'm going to be that. He'll like criticise performances, and he's like, that's not what I want to see. And that's even when we've won games, he's done that. So you've got to take him at face value. It's like, he doesn't want to see this, but why is it still happening? And I don't know. I just think there's not one thing that you can point to, because at the moment, very, very little is working where you can say, well, we can hang our hat on that and then we've just got to fix this. We're not defending well. The midfield's not functioning. The forwards are just fucking doing my head in big time. Alisson's got injured now. Now, I did think that Mamardashvili did fine today. He made a couple of good saves. He looks assured, confident. I'm not worried about him. But that is another adjustment that we're having to make, because Alisson's no longer there, and Alisson was saving us at times as well. Let's not forget that. Last week at Palace, for instance. So, I mean, there's very little that we can hang our hat on and say, well, at least this is working.
Is it too simplistic to say there's been too much change? And I know a lot of that's been forced on us by players wanting to go and different circumstances and that. But can you just, do we think that's a big part of it, or do we think that's just a small factor?
I do think it's a big part of it, and I think it was inevitable that it was going to be a problem. But that was where a lot of my early season optimism came from, because I was expecting it to be wobbly. I thought I was convinced we were going to win the league. Absolutely convinced beforehand. But that was about a 38-game season. I didn't expect us to come out of the traps in terms of results the way we did, because I expected there to be a period of adaptation. What I thought we'd be seeing was a new way of playing, bed in. But we haven't seen that. What we've seen is moments, in retrospect, we've seen moments, big moments, get us those first results, and then it feels like the wheels are coming off. It really does. And that's not an exaggeration. This is not just about a couple of moments in games going against us or a couple of unlucky decisions. The performances are absolutely fucking
we're getting
risible.
what we deserve, aren't we? Sometimes you'll have a run of games where you think they're actually they're just on the edge. They're just being a little bit unlucky, like little things aren't falling for you. But you can't say that in the last week.
No.
You can look at every one of those games and say, yeah, we deserve to lose that game. And really, if we want to be a big club, which is what we are, you can't lose 3 games in a row. I mean, how many times do you hear managers say, a good team reacts to a loss, they don't lose 2 in a row? We've lost fucking 3 in a row. For a club like us, that's not acceptable under anybody.
I agree.
It shouldn't happen. It shouldn't happen, and we shouldn't.
I don't care
we shouldn't
how
just swat it
hysterical that
aside.
sounds. It's true. It's absolutely true. You can't be lashing nearly £500 million on players and as champions, and then after the first 5-6 games of the season, the wheels come off. That just can't happen. It's absolutely not credible that is acceptable in any way, shape or form. It's not acceptable.
I know, it feels like like the US Ryder Cup team. We're just looking at it and going, we're not equal in the sum of our parts. You've got Vert and Isak, basically like fucking Scheffler and Bryson, just not getting it done, and you're like, what's going on? Why isn't this working? It's just, it's depressing. It's like, I don't know.
You've got an all-time legend, one of the greatest players ever played for the club on the right, who looks like he doesn't know what a football is. You know what I mean?
Awful against
he's had nearly 10 seasons where
genuinely
he's absolutely
awful.
He delivers and delivers and delivers and delivers and delivers. Now I know that we've got people who question the way the way he plays and how he has these weird games where he's shit and yet he scores. This is not that. This is about, we are not playing in the same way. I also think, again, don't think people are going to like this, we're massively missing Trent. We really need.
Massively.
I think Mo
is. We really need that. Yeah.
I do think it's a factor for Mo. I don't think.
And so therefore we are, because look how many. What was it? Going on 60 goals last season that Mo was directly involved in. So
you can make a case, which it's probably flippant, but you make a case to say that a lot of teams, would go into a game and think, right, stop Mo Salah and you stop Liverpool. Like if you look at it from last year, the goal involvement with him. It's a very simple thing. If you stop him, who else is consistently going to do it? And that's bearing fruit now. I think his season so far has been fucking terrible. Now, I take your point, Paul. I don't want to sit there necessarily and just say player X is being shite and player Y is being shite. It is literally across the board, where they're all struggling. So you can't just pick out one or two. But he is the man who delivers most of the time. He's the one that we rely on for the goals, and he's not doing it now. I don't think it's just down to him.
I think up for most of those goals all the way. For a large proportion of his chances all the way through has left.
Yeah, that's a factor. There's no doubt about it. Like we all said, didn't we? Especially towards the end of the season. I remember watching a game in particular. I can't remember what one it was, but I was in the Cop. And some of the stuff Trent was doing was outrageous. Some of the vision, some of the passing, and you're thinking, fucking hell, we're going to miss him in terms of creativity. So when they've gone out and got Vert, you think that's great because it's replacing Trent's creativity in a different way.
Yeah.
But it just hasn't happened for whatever reason, and I know there's mitigating circumstances.
You're getting Frimpong as Trent's replacement, who couldn't be a more different
nothing
player.
Like him.
So, but so to me, if we're missing Trent, and I'm not even saying we are, but if we are, that's the manager's fault. He knew Trent was leaving. You've got to come up with a plan to replace that. And his plan was, well, I'm getting Frimpong in, who's like a flying flying fullback who's going to be bombing up and down the outside. Total opposite to what Trent does. So that's fine. I've got no issue with that. But then you must be playing a different way, and we're not. We've ended up with a midfielder playing right back most of the time. We're asking Dom to do Trent things.
Yeah, it makes no sense. Don't get it.
Incomprehensible, the whole thing, boys. Incomprehensible. There is no strategy discernible whatsoever. I defy anybody to tell me what the strategy is. No one knows. The players don't know. They might know what the manager's telling them, but they don't know how they're supposed to deliver it or what it's supposed to achieve. It's a shit show. It's a shit show. The Slot is under big pressure. There's no doubt in my mind at all. Now, I'll come back to what I said before. He's also got very broad shoulders. He proved that last season, both as a winner and as a man who can take big pressure. I think he's unimpeachable in both of those regards. He's unimpeachable as a winner and unimpeachable as somebody who can take pressure. But he's about to experience something he's never experienced in his career before. That's to be in charge of Liverpool, who are champions, who are now becoming who are going to be a running joke on social media for the next. And we can't just dismiss social media and say, whatever, it's only social media. No, because the players
are all on it.
Exactly. The narrative is the narrative, and that will be in everyone's heads. He has got a very, very difficult job on his hands right now.
They're all on it, and we've already seen a few examples of certain players who react to it as well, don't they? They don't like it. They don't like it when they get a bit of criticism. No, Ver just wants to be fair. He doesn't like it when he gets a bit of criticism. Dom will have a bite.
Have you seen the quote from Verge after the game today? We need to touch on this because I'm really uncomfortable.
He said he knew it was going to be a struggle or something, didn't he,
really
Richard?
That's discussing it, but it needs to be brought up. He said he was talking to Viaplay, who I think is that Dutch media. I think it might be. I don't know, but his quote is, "I've told you repeatedly that this season will be tough, not only because of what happens on the pitch, but also because of what has happened off it."
No, just don't go there.
Yeah.
This is it's a very sensitive situation. I hardly don't want to say anything about it, but for me, don't be saying that when things are going bad. Yeah. That's like bringing that up as an excuse for me. No, don't do that.
I mean, grief is a very difficult thing, isn't it, boys? We've all experienced it. It's very, very... There's no rhyme or reason to how individuals grieve. There's no rules. There's no predicting it. There's no understanding it in some ways. And I don't think we can possibly... And I don't think we are doing that, by the way. None of us can second guess those players or question how they grieve for a fella that they loved. You know, he was a close friend of many of them. They loved him. But what I do agree with, Brown, is what you just said there, is that just let other people say that. I mean, although maybe Virgil feels as the captain, that's part of being the captain, is to be the one to stand up and to kind of take that on the chin and say the unsayable, because it probably is unsayable, really. But if it's true, I don't think... Well, it must be true, because he wouldn't use that willy-nilly. There's no way he'd say that if that wasn't an issue. There will be lads struggling with it still. I bet Mo's struggling with it. You know, we saw Mo in tears, didn't we, on the pitch earlier on in the season. So, God, it's a fucking hard one. It's a hard one. I suppose the one thing I would say is I'm glad, Dave, you mentioning that now has put that back in my head, because that was out of my head for this whole pod up to this point. And it shouldn't be, really. And it shouldn't be for the rest of the season.
It's a difficult one. I don't even really want to comment on it because I've got thoughts on it, but I don't really feel like, as you say, you know, we don't know for a start. We don't really know what it's going to be different for every individual. Never mind like the collective. I'm not comfortable with him saying that, but as you pointed out, he's the captain and maybe he felt like it needed to be said. I don't know.
Maybe he sees it as leadership to say that.
Yeah, I don't even
to voice the unvoiceable.
My thoughts on it, I'm not even going to voice my thoughts on it because I don't feel like it's appropriate for me to do that. But I just thought it was something that needed to be mentioned. That's what he's quoted as saying after today. So yeah, it's going to be there all season, obviously, and
it's fucking shit.
I mean, what?
Jesus Christ, it's so shit.
That also
so shit that they've got to deal with that.
It also brings into focus the chanting of Diogo's name after 20 minutes of every game. Like someone on Barry Wom on the forum, I think it was, made the point that he said, you know, if it was my mate, I wouldn't want reminding of that every time I'm out there trying to do my job.
Brings its own pressure, doesn't it?
I don't know. I don't think there's any right or wrong answer to it. Like, but I said about that chant, I'd rather it just be spontaneous, like as and when the crowd wants to sing that, then do it, rather than it become an obligation where after 20 minutes of every game, that's what's getting
the problem
done.
You've got is at some point it will stop, won't it? Because that's just natural. It's
so
naturally going to stop. So who picks when and all that, you know what I mean?
Do it for this season and then say, okay, that was the should for this season, and now it's going to be just spontaneous whenever. Because if it goes beyond this season, it is going to become just like people will just see it as a chore.
And almost feel like you have to do it.
Yeah, that's what
just
I mean.
because it's what it's always been done, kind of thing.
It's totally uncharted waters, isn't it? The whole thing for everybody.
I don't know how to react. Never mind fucking his mates who are going out on the pitch every week in a like highly pressurised environment, playing for one of the biggest clubs in the world. Like, how do they react? I don't know. I think the key thing is what you said, Paul. There isn't a right or wrong to it. Like, it's understandable that different people are going to be affected in different ways, and me saying what I've said about Verge there, I don't want to hear that from him. That's not a criticism of how he feels, if that is genuinely how he feels. I just don't want to be hearing it at this point, you know what I mean? I agree with you, Paul. That
it's counterproductive.
It should be for other people to say that rather than us, whether it's true or not, I think.
Especially coming off the back of 3 defeats, where people are going to say, oh yeah, you're feeling it now because you're having a bad run, but and you know what, there's probably something to that, because they're probably like down in the dumps anyway, but losing games, and then they're like, that's on top of it all. They're thinking
maybe this is Virgil sees this as he's taking the weight for them. Maybe this is a thing, and he's saying, I'm the captain, I'm going to take the weight, I'm going to say it, I'm going to put it out there.
I just think it'd be more productive though for them to just accept that the performances haven't been good enough, and they've got to get their heads together.
I'm sure
and they need to react to it in that way. Do you know what I mean? I'd rather hear that kind of side of it.
The only thing you can say is
like that after we've won a couple rather than lost 3.
Yeah, but the only thing you can say is it'll have been done in good faith, won't it?
Yeah,
it won't be a bad faith
no
move.
doubt.
That's the only thing that we can be certain of. So if he's made a judgment call and it's wrong, I mean, we don't know that it's wrong, do we? We don't know the impact of it yet. But if
we've not seen the interview, by the way, you don't know whether somebody's brought that up and said it to him, and he's responding to a question. Again,
just
that's
a quote
important.
that was out there on Twitter. So there's that.
You always have to be careful with that.
I suppose the one thing I would say is that, like, you know, and again, you're absolutely right, Brownie, to mention that we're going off third-hand report of something we haven't seen. But I got to admire the character of the man to be brave enough to have that conversation, because it's not an easy thing. Most people would naturally shy away from talking about grief like that. To do so publicly, I think that's a mark of the man he is, really. I think, regardless of whether he's made a judgment error or not in raising it. It's probably not a lot more to say about that, as otherwise we're just talking ourselves in knots about stuff we don't know.
Yeah. No,
I'm gonna do a segue there and move into criticising them on the pitch, because I want to talk about the first goal, because I know that you thought that was mainly on Maka, didn't you, Paul? The first goal. What bit of that did you think was mainly on Maka? The fact that he jumped and got played around, or what?
Yeah.
Right, okay. Because for me, that was a mistake, no doubt. He's 2v1. He shouldn't have jumped to try and win the ball. He should have held his position, because
it's risk reward though.
It is risk
if
reward.
He nicks that ball, we're clean.
But he needs a partner in there, doesn't he? He was
no, but this is why
Grav was too far forward.
Yeah, I think it's the wrong decision, but I also agree with Dave, because it's not like he's the last man. You have a fucking back four and a goalie behind you. You are allowed to try and risk and nick a ball, and it doesn't have to end up in a goal. I do not understand what Virg is doing. I don't understand it.
Didn't he? Caicedo shaped a pass, and Virgil just took a. He leaned.
But there's
to his
one
left,
forward, Paul. There's one forward and 2 centre halfs. So
the gap was open. The gap was there, wasn't it?
And the danger's there in front of you.
That's Caicedo's range,
but the danger there is he's already done it this season as well, by the way. Caicedo smashed one in the top corner. Do you know what I mean? The danger's there. You go towards the danger to stop the shot. I understand possibly 1 or 2 steps if he has a bit of a scan, but if he does have a scan, he sees Canate's got, I think it's João Pedro. So you then go towards the danger to stop the shot. He keeps going
I'm not
backwards.
absolving
I don't get it.
75%, 25%. I think Virgil is to blame, but I think it's mainly on Maka.
I think it's the other way. I would flip it the other way.
At the end of the day, it's just a fucking great goal. You know, it's a great strike. So I mean, and it's not why we lost the game. So
no, I agree. It is a good strike. I'm going to sound like fucking harsh here. My first thought, and it didn't totally disappear on the replay about the goalkeeper. Like, he went with the wrong hand, is the first thing I would say. When the shot's going in the top right-hand corner, you don't bring your left arm over.
Yeah.
I don't understand why he's done that. And then when he did bring his left arm over, he actually got his hand to it, but it went through his hand. Like, you know,
he didn't get enough
like his
of
finger.
hands to
No, it's like
to,
fingertip kind of thing, wasn't it? But I don't know. I'm not saying it's a goalkeeper mistake. What I'm saying is I'm not 100% that it wasn't, if you get what I mean.
It crossed my mind, but I think you can also say the fact that he got as close to it as he did makes it look like, oh, could he saved it? But you maybe should be giving him credit for actually getting as close to it as he did, because it's a great strike. I don't know.
I just didn't like
I'm
his
not a
left hand
goalkeeper
being
expert.
there.
I couldn't. I take your point about going with the wrong hand and that, but that ball's flying. It's going at such a... If you give like any decent footballer who's got a good strike on him, and you're giving him a free hit from basically 19 yards, something like that. There's like no defenders in the way. He's just got a free hit at the goal. If the goalkeeper saves it, he's done well, I think. So I just think that's we've made the mistake in just giving him a free shot, not trying to close him down or anything, and you've left the goalkeeper exposed. And I wouldn't. In terms of blame, I'm not even putting 1%.
I'm not blaming him, just to be clear.
I'm not even putting
just
1% on him. But you're always going to say, oh, would Alisson have saved that? I don't think he would. Could be wrong, but I think there's just too much power. It's not from 25, 30 yards where you've got that little extra second to get across. He's too close to the goal and he's blasted it, and I wouldn't expect my goalkeeper to save that.
I think that's fair enough. You know where you just said before, Paul, about Macca's on his own? Where was Grav, actually? I've not watched it back enough to know why he was on his own.
He was about 8 yards further forward.
I wonder why. I don't know what happened in the build-up to it.
About him. I can't remember what happened in the build-up either, but he was more advanced. That's what I was saying.
That's an example of the fluidity of the midfield. Yeah, of them rotating, so he becomes a six
to cover the ground. You know, if you've got a really physically dominant player who can eat up the yards in there, he's got a chance of closing Caicedo when it goes that way. But Macca hasn't.
No, he hasn't. But I also think, though, once you've jumped out like that to try to get the ball, you've then got to turn and from a standing start run back. You're not going to catch Caicedo anyway. Macca's definitely not going to do it.
Yeah, Macca doesn't.
Most are going to struggle.
Yeah, that was frustrating though, wasn't it, to concede a goal like that. Really, when we'd started the game quite well, that was a bit of a hammer blow.
Yeah, from which we didn't ever really recover, did we? Regardless of the way we looked marginally better at points in the second half, but I was never either of you convinced at any stage, because I wasn't.
No. What did we create in the first half? There was Isak's header.
Isak's header. There was the Kirkers one, and there was the.
There actually were chances. There were chances.
Maybe should have done better with the header, but it's not easy. But it's a great ball.
No.
But
I don't think you can say he should score that, but he should have hit the target.
I don't think you can say Donk should have scored either. There was about.
I do only exactly. So we should have went high on that one. When defenders are getting back, you always go high because you risk a handball, because your natural instinct thing. You don't go low because there's too many legs there. You should go high.
I think that was a good chance, that me. I thought that was a hard one.
I thought that was a really good chance.
I think Dave said before, it was just a pure left back effort, wasn't it?
Yeah, he just passed responsibility, because full back in that situation, if they shoot, everyone bollocks them. Like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, but did you? I mean, we signed the player who fucking. Do you see his goal at St James's Park where he does a little step over and then puts it in the top corner? You're thinking, aren't you? We've had Robbo for years. Like, in the middle, though, do that kind of stuff.
That brings its own pressure. Mo
being that's when he was defying expectations.
Players will defer. Like, they see Mo there and they automatically just defer, and that's what he did.
Pass wasn't even on though. It was never on. The angle wasn't there.
I also thought that Mo should have been trying to get in front of the defender rather than just hanging back where he was. That wasn't good from him, but it doesn't excuse the poor ball from Kirkers, and you know he probably on reflection he should have gone on his own. But that was one of the better situations we were in. Which
I do want to make a point here, like, and Monty's been saying in the group chat, and I'm not all there with him on it, because I'm probably more in line with what you're saying, Paul, about it's a mess and all the players, you know, aren't just suddenly out of form, you know, confused and all that. But you do actually, if you just look at that game, like, as a nerd, and just purely statistically, and then you look at the individual moments in the game where you've got like these players into the position. As a coach, your kind of job is to make sure your most dangerous players get the ball in dangerous positions on the pitch. What they then do with it generally speaking, comes down to their individual quality. And we were in a lot of very good situations today in that game, which we should have done better with.
Let me come back on that, mate, because I agree with you to a point, but this is where you get into the realms of the difference between a coach and a manager, and you might think it's semantics. But for me, it's not just about the technical, tactical setup of the team. It's about psychology. It's the most important thing is you're a leader. That's what Jurgen had more than anybody, is that he was inside those players' heads. Now, to the extent that most people underestimated how great he was on the tactical side, but at this level, with players of this quality, your job is to make them not only understand what you want them to do, but feel that they can do it every single time. So it's about making sure that psychologically they're ready, and that if the pressure's on, that you take that pressure off them. If they are in a bad run of form, you make them feel $1 million so that the run of form doesn't weigh on their shoulders. It's about leadership. We overemphasise, probably understandably, in such a technical and tactical league, the whole coaching side of things, when I actually think the biggest factor, apart from the quality of the players, is the manager's capacity to lead them as human beings. And that's the difference. So that's why you can have, the data will tell you we got into all these positions, but the positions those chances weren't converted, because there are human beings. There's a million and one things going on inside their heads, and that's what I do know, Dave. I absolutely know.
I agree. I agree with that. I agree with that 100%.
It's on individuals, though. I agree with your overall point. But Mo Salah does not need Arne Slot massaging his ego, telling him how great he is.
But Mo Salah also needs Trent Alexander-Arnold behind him and a whole
point.
team set up to give him the ball.
So Mo's ballooning shots, cutting inside and just ballooning shots over the bar because he hasn't got Trent there playing past the team.
No, Dave, that's not.
I'm not letting him off the hook for that.
Don't trivialise. That's not what I'm saying.
I'm not trivialising it. I'm making the point that you're letting Mo off the hook.
I'm not letting him off the hook. He's been shit.
I know.
He's been absolutely
shit. And it's not
all
because
season.
of Slot's man management,
It's
not filling him with confidence.
With
someone like Gakpo, I could get on board with that.
Dave,
I could say yeah, but not Mo Salah. No.
The tactics have changed the entire way Mo is expected to play, and if that's not making him, with Mo, you're right. It won't be about the psychology and the lack of confidence. He's an absolute killer. But what it will be is that all the little things that add up to Mo understanding what he does in the moments are not there. So he's not playing on instinct.
No, I don't agree. I don't agree with that.
No,
don't agree with that.
No,
I don't agree with that. I think all the stuff you've just said about
psychology
is spot on.
We've totally changed the way we play. We've totally changed the way we play.
But we're talking about the most mentally resilient footballer any of us can remember. You know, he's so mentally strong and all that. Mo's the outlier to what you were saying. I don't disagree with your overall point about that. I just feel like Mo's an exception to that, and it doesn't apply.
So I agreed. And so what I'm saying about Mo is that with Mo, it is about the fact that he's not being asked to play in the same way.
No, I just think he's being shit, personally.
So do
I just think he's playing shit. Like, look at that flick by Wirtz for start of the second half when that comes to Mo. Missing the target there is criminal. It's absolutely criminal. You can't do that against, like you said,
he sticks an absolute peach of a ball on his head.
That goalkeeper's shit. Yeah, I know he's going to do things in moments. That's what Mo is. He's a moment. Listen. I'm not saying he hasn't been shit. He has been shit. I said it before. He's been shit all season. There's no doubt. But what I'm not doing is I'm not having us portion blame to individual players. It's not about that. When you change so much, it's a shit show. The whole thing is a shit show, and we know how drilled top class football is. They clearly do not understand what they're supposed to be doing, and that adds up to this mess. In some cases, the players will be second guessing themselves. In other places, the players won't have the relationships with key players that they're playing with, or they've changed, or it's a different player every week that they're playing with. There's just no semblance of a plan that's visible, and so you've got players trying to improvise in the moment, and sometimes it came off earlier in the season, and now it isn't, and we're paying the price.
Yeah, I think all that's fair. I also think there's an element of it that some players are just not helping themselves and not helping the manager. It cuts both ways, but I'm not dismissing what you're saying. I agree with it. I do think that Mo is an outlier to it, but the overall point definitely applies to a lot of what we're seeing. You know, and I think Gakpo's like a prime example of it. He's not playing with any confidence whatsoever. And I'm not his biggest fan, you all know that, but I'm looking at him like, well, I didn't particularly rate him that highly when he was doing well. And he looks nothing like that player now. You know, the stuff that like he's doing when he was playing well, it's like he's not doing any of it. You know, he just looks an absolute shadow of what he was. And I didn't think he was that great to begin with.
I think Diaz going has took an edge away from him, mate, honestly. I think they
fucking
pushed each
flying as
other.
well.
They
not
pushed
helping.
each other so much that it was like, if you managed to get in the team,
Yeah.
you know, if he swapped them, then they knew they had to perform. And I think Gakpo at the moment, he's lost that little bit of jeopardy in terms of his place. And now he's like, I think you're seeing the result of that. And I like him.
That
you know,
could well be true. What also worries me is there doesn't seem to be any semblance of a relationship with his left back. You know, the same fella's played every week at left back.
Well, he never
doesn't
sees
have
him
any
because he's
understanding
40 yards
whatsoever.
further back.
Exactly. It's
Well,
just
no,
on
there
the
was one
times when
though.
he does-
Yeah,
the times when he
Robbo
does
came
come
on
forward,
and his...
Yeah, do you see the one where he went to play the overlap one to Robbo, and Robbo
Yeah.
had gone inside and just stopped, and you were like, they're two players who've played with each other for years and should have a
They don't know
relationship.
whether they're coming or going. They do not know whether they're coming or going, these players.
I worry that, like, I mean, I need to be careful here because I'm just going to get myself in trouble, but I worry a little bit that with this coach and potentially this coaching staff, that it might be one of them where they're throwing too much information at the players. They're giving them too much to say, and you know, in this situation do that, in this do that, in this do that, and the players are like thinking, hang on, shit, what am I supposed to do here? Like he's told me they go in the half space, then you know, 35% of the goals come from there, and it's like the processing the information in the brain rather than playing off the cuff. Like, and they need to go back to playing instinctively.
That's kind of what the point I was trying to make about Mo as well. I think they're just trying to... you've said it really well there, mate. That's kind of what my gut is. When I talked about them being confused and not knowing what they're supposed to be doing, it's not that there's no plan. It's about 10 plans.
Yeah.
It's about do this, then do that, change these players around. We're changing this at half time. We're bringing that player on. You're going into the back four. You're going to right back. You're going to the left wing instead of playing the number 10. It's like... let them focus on one job and do that job well.
I think they've got great intentions with all the information that they're probably giving them, but I just think it's probably a little bit overload. Now, I don't know that because I'm not in the dressing room. We don't know that. We're not in the training ground, but
Makes sense,
it looks like that to me. It looks like
agree.
that. When sometimes the right approach is get the lads in at half time and go, look, these are fucking shit. And they're missing about 9 players. You don't need to overthink it. You just need to fucking go for them. Like, we should have just went for them. Yeah. Because I honestly think that was a poor game of football. The quality of football in that game. There was so many turnovers from shit passes.
Chelsea weren't good, but
I thought they were
at least they have got mitigating circumstances for it. Players that were missing, like the best player was out.
But we really should have hit them. I mean, they there was one point in the second half where they were going for the win, as were we, and they overcommitted massively. The one where Dom had the shot and it went wide. That came directly from them attacking, and we literally, I think it was a goal kick. I think we just played one pass, broke the line, and then we should have scored off it. And you were like, that is also not a team who were organised and coherent. They were all over the place as well, and that's the biggest thing that worries me about that, is if we were a serious football team, we would have won that game 3 or 4-1, and everyone's talking about how much of a mess Chelsea are.
That's exactly my problem with today as well. That's exactly how I feel. That's a game. You have got to win that game when you look at what you're up against. Yeah. You were not up against Chelsea, the world champions. Do you know what I mean? That's not who we played today. They were like so below strength, and the whole world champions thing's like, obviously it's tongue in cheek anyway. But when they've got a fully fit squad and you get them on a good day, yeah, Chelsea can beat anyone. But that's not what that was today. That's a game you have to win. You've just got to win that. You look at the back four that they had. It's like, how are you not testing them more than you did? That's what's demoralising. It's like, that's a game you've got to win. I can completely dismiss losing at Palace last week. I can completely just say, yeah, decent side, difficult place to go, caught them on a good day. We had a bad day. You just write that off and move on. And I said last week, it's not about this. You know, I can dismiss this. It's about how you react to it. And we've not reacted to it. We've gone and lost 2 more games. So... everything that I said last week, because I was like fairly relaxed about losing to Palace. I never got worked up about it. I was quite philosophical about it all, with the proviso that it depends on how we react to it. That's the important thing, and we've reacted so badly. We couldn't have really reacted worse than we have with these two performances. So now we've got to stew on it over the international break, and then when we come back, it's United at Anfield, and you know they're just going to come and sit in. So that's going to be a game where you'd expect to beat them because they're shit. But we didn't beat them last season. They come to Anfield and got a draw last season, and the season before, for that matter. So that game now just takes on, like, I don't know, it's massive, isn't it?
And that's before you think about. That's before you think about what the last week has done for Arsenal, where we've done for them what they did for us last season.
Well, it's the Brentford last week at Newcastle. That's their Brentford moment from last season, where they lost. They lost to West Ham at home, didn't they?
Yeah.
And then we scored 2 goals in stoppage time to beat Brentford. And when that happens, what were we saying when that happened? Well, like that's the day we'll look back on and say that's when the title was won. Same thing with Aston Villa when Sadio scored that goal. That's what we said then. Arsenal will be thinking that about last week.
I think we're a lot earlier now, though, aren't we?
It's earlier, but it's still, if you're Arsenal, that's what you're going to be thinking, because that's what I would be thinking. I wouldn't be saying it's over, but what I would be saying is, if we win it, we look back at that weekend and go, that was the pivotal moment when it turned.
But we're basically handing a mentally fragile squad mental strength. We're basically solidifying them.
Yeah. We had the chance to stand on the fucking throat, didn't we?
Yeah.
By really, after beating them, you've got to follow that up with another.
Could have been 8 points.
And then you're really putting the pressure.
We could have been 8 points ahead, and now they're 1 point clear of us in a week.
And if we're honest, they look like a far more coherent side than us at the moment.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah. I mean, for all the stuff that you can say that they lack, and there's plenty of that, be too emotional and they rely on set pieces too much, don't score enough open play goals. But
the hard to play against. Goals.
They're always in games. They're always in games, and they've always got a chance of winning it because they're solid. They're a hell of a lot more solid than we are at the moment. And as you say, like, it goes back to what you said before, Paul. A lot of it isn't about like your ability and your tactics. It's about what happens in your head. Can you imagine how their players feel now going into the international break, and the momentum that they've got, and the psychology around all that?
The complete reverse is what's happening to our boys. They've got the weight of the world on their shoulders. And
then when they come back, the problem we've got is, what's our fucking best 11? Do you think the manager even knows what he would class as best 11 as? It seems to change.
Kirk hasn't 10 others.
What are we going to do in the next game? So that United game,
it's Kirk's Virgil and 9 others, but it's a fair point.
Well, it'll be Kirk's as well again if Robbo's fucked.
Yeah, because I don't know whether people got onto this or not, but Robbo had to be helped off the pitch at the end. He could hardly walk, and when that goal went in, when you look at it, he's got his hands on his knees in the build up, he's struggling, and then the ball comes across and he's not reacted to it. But yeah, it looked like he's pretty badly injured at the time. So
yeah, I thought it was very poor from him on the goal, but if it's because he's got a knock, then it's fair enough, innit? You understand that he's not going to react as quickly as he normally would do. So
he didn't look good coming off. The physio's just helping him off, and he's really hobbling badly.
So what's Dom like at left back?
No, we're about to find out. Robert's only going to be getting 10 minutes here and there anyway.
Yeah, but Kirkes can't do 3 games in a week, can he? So Dom will end up there for 20 minutes.
No, he has to do 2 3/4.
Yeah.
Can't do a full 3, but he can do 2 3/4.
Ibu's got a knock as well, hasn't he? Isn't that why he came off? Because he didn't look right running back at one point.
He pulled up just before he came off. Yeah,
did he? I didn't see that.
Yeah.
I thought he was okay today, other than that one pass that he just played straight into touch.
Yeah, is it bad though that when I saw him just sort of pull up a little bit, I thought, you're being a tart? I just don't know. I've got questions about him mentally. I'm not sure. He's one of those, he's a big player when the wind's blowing the right way.
He's too inconsistent for me, Ibu, if I'm honest with you. I think he's got all the attributes that you need to be. Definitely. He is a top class centre half. He can do it, but the variance is just too high, and I don't know how much that is down to the fact that there's so much uncertainty about his future. Let's be honest, he's going to Real Madrid, isn't he? It's clear as fucking day. Everybody knows
unless they're actually watching him.
Well,
they may have second thoughts. They may just go and sign Gay instead. That'd be typical.
I don't feel I can lay any blame at the club's door for the Gay thing, but I wish we had him here now.
I wish we had him, and I think we should go back for him in January. I'm not sure
definitely.
I believe that
Well,
what's
I
being
never
said.
believed that either. I didn't believe that even before we had injuries.
Because I mean, if Ibu's not got the best track record anyway, has he, when it comes to fitness? So then suddenly you've got no backup centre halves, have you? But then again, I mean, we had a backup centre half on the bench today, and he fucking didn't get on. We put our number 6 there instead.
That's what I was gonna make that point.
Don't get it.
Konate's performances in the last couple of games have been wretched, and I did say, you know, there should be some accountability, but I fully expected that he would start today, and he did. But you can't help but think not everyone is getting judged by the same standards, because poor Kwanzaa got fucking hooked at half time for basically just losing a couple of duels to the lap. He didn't have, none of us were saying get Kwanzaa off at half time. He wasn't like stinking it up, but Slot didn't like the fact that he lost
never
a couple
fancied
of duels.
him though, and it was obvious from the start.
So then he brings Konate on in that game to win those duels, and it's like, okay, there's accountability there. You've not done what Slot wanted you to do, and then Konate does that, and there's no accountability. There's no consequences for those performances, and I do think it comes down to the fact that Joe Gomez stunk against Southampton. If Joe Gomez had played really well in that game, I think that makes the decision easier to like say to Konate, right, you're sitting it out. That's not good enough what you've done the last couple of games. I just don't think he trusted Joe Gomez to bring him in, and you know that it's a shame, but like, it's partly on Joe Gomez for the way he played against Southampton. If he puts in a better performance,
yeah, it partly is, but that's
easier.
where the psychology bit comes into it though as well. It doesn't have to be like just so cut and dried. Like, you could easily just turn around and say, okay, yeah, maybe you didn't have your best game against Southampton. You know, you're man enough to admit it. We can have a conversation about it. We know that's not your level, and maybe that was just what you needed to blow the cobwebs off because you've not played a lot of football.
Exactly.
I have full trust in you to go out and be dominant. Whoever you come up against, you're going to dominate him. Chelsea away. I believe in you. You're starting. Do you know what I mean? Can you imagine how he feels if you say that to him?
I think he was pissed off at Gomez though. But I think he was pissed off at Gomez just based on what he said after the game. He didn't name names, but he said there's some players in there who basically weren't taking it seriously enough, and I told them at half time. And I went through the team to try and figure it out, and it was pretty obvious that the only ones who really stood out for being poor was like Endo had a bad start to the game, but picked up after like 15-20 minutes, whatever. And Gomez was terrible, and there was somebody else. Frimpong. They were bad. Now, you're not going to be singling out Leone because, one, he played well, and two, he's a kid making his debut. Robbo was fine. I thought Curtis was fine, but maybe Slot wanted more from Curtis. I don't know. So he could have been one of the ones he was talking about.
I thought it was Gomez and Frimpong.
Gomez was definitely one of the ones who he said he was not happy with at all, and he told them. So
do you know what,
that
though?
Comes into it as well.
Yeah, but he's not
just sorry, Branny, on this point.
Sorry, mate.
This is all about, again, the issue of leadership over coaching. So I don't care what the issue is. If you've got a player who you think his attitude was wrong, sort his attitude out. If you've got a player who you think is out of form, get him into form, make him feel full of confidence so that he can come back in. If you've got a player on a yellow card and you're worried he's going to get targeted, you get him focused in a game so that he doesn't get targeted. He copes with that pressure. These are all things, and I know it's not fair to compare to Jurgen, but I'm never going to stop doing it because he's the greatest I've ever seen. It's just inevitable. Klopp was able to deal with all of these scenarios because it's about the way you lead. Now, these are the tests that Slot has got to pass. This goes with the territory. This is the job. This is the job at this level. It's nothing else. It's about being able to cope with. Can you cope with an elite squad? Can you cope with 18, 19, 20 world-class players coming in and out, and can you make them all understand what you want them to do? Can you then get them to believe that they can deliver it? Can you actually get them to deliver it? This is the job. And for whatever the issues are with these players, his job is to make it work. With the vast majority, you're never going to have anybody who can deliver perfection from every player every week, because as we've said, it's human beings. But your task is to get the majority pulling in one direction, and then the rest of them carry along the ones who, for whatever reason, are wobbling a little bit. So if you get like 75% of them all going full pelt in the right direction, they carry the others with them. That is the job. It's not about the tactics. It's not about the selections, it is about those things, but it's mainly about how you get those players mentally prepared to deliver your plan every single week, no matter who you're picking.
It's about those things when things are going well.
And when they're going badly?
No, but when it's going... No, that's what I'm saying is the two things you said, like the tactics and stuff. It's about them when it's going well. When it's not going well, that's when all the other stuff you're talking about really comes to the fore, and that's what he's got to do now.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
we'll see, won't we? We'll see.
My point was going to be more about, I don't think he's being consistent with how he's treating the players, because
that was my point.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah,
he 100% was talking about Gomez and Frimpong. I don't know if there was any other players, but I thought the same. I was in the cop watching the game, and I thought Joey G was shit. I thought Frimpong looked like he'd never played football in his life, and he just fucking picked him out on the street and put him on the pitch. He was a disgrace. But then he started on the right wing, Galatasaray.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So you can't be like that with one player and then pick him the next game, and then the other one you just leave there.
But he's in the doghouse today. He doesn't get on today, so maybe he didn't see enough from him against Galatasaray. Gomez has just sat there and done nothing since. Yeah.
Hasn't been involved in either of them. So for me, that you're treating players in a different way, and players are gonna take that, and they're not gonna like it. Like, if you look at Quansah, we know that Slot didn't fancy Quansah from the start. That was obvious to anybody. Yeah. The way he treated him, did you see an improvement in Quansah's performance getting treated like that, or did you see a deterioration, or just a continuation?
There was a deterioration initially, and then he bounced back, and I thought he played okay after that. He did, but it wasn't like massive improvement. He just got back to similar to what he was before.
Yeah.
Not really
I personally don't think that was the right way to go about it. I thought that at the time, but you'd have to bite your lip a little bit, because the team's getting results and you don't want to go wild about it. But I mean, look at Quansah now. He's in the England squad, and by all accounts playing really well. He's obviously got his confidence back. I know it's a completely different level, different team, all that kind of stuff, but I don't know. I think he's a very straight up guy, and you know what I mean? He tells people straight. That's how he is with it, and that honesty can be a good thing, as long as you're consistent with everybody. But there's also got to be a little bit of love there as well. Unfortunately, that's the way of the world now, especially with football.
We don't know if there is,
different years ago.
It's difficult to know
behind
the
the
scenes. I take your point, but we don't really know that, do we? We don't know what his man management is.
Well, we certainly knew that under the last guy, didn't we? You know what I mean? It was fucking all clear to see.
Yeah, but I know what you're saying and all that, and I get Paul's point about, but I just think he's such a one-off. You're not going to have that ever again. If there was no one like him before, there's maybe Shankly, and there's not going to be anyone like that again. So it's counterproductive, like, bringing that up. But I'm just trying to judge Slot on his own merits rather than that. And there's things that I need to see from him. And this thing is, though, Paul, just a quick point though. Now is the time when he's really going to have to show these things, because when he did a great job last season. Don't get me wrong. Give him all the praise in the world for that. There wasn't really, other than the little wobble with PSG and then losing the final, there wasn't really a crisis or anything like that he had to overcome. Now this is where, okay, you're going to have to show something like different to what we've seen before, because you haven't had to do this before. Now we need you to do it. You need to fix whatever these problems are, keep everyone on board, and somehow stop them. The thing that you've got to do is, you can't have players now pointing the finger at each other and stuff. They've all got to stick together and come through the other side, and that's where the manager has to lead the way. So that's what we need to see from him. Unfortunately, it's an international break, so the players are all away, so there's not really that much he can do until they come back on the Thursday before we play United. So
do we think that's a good thing now?
I don't know. I think you can look at it both ways. I'm glad we don't have to play. I don't want to watch us. I'm glad of 2 weeks of not having to watch us.
Sick of
but at the same time, it's not good that the players are all away and he can't work with them and get together and get everyone's heads focused and everyone pulling on the same end of the rope. So there's pros and cons to it, I suppose.
I think it's a bad time, mate. I normally, when you have a defeat, I don't think it's too bad to have an international break. But when it's 3 in a row, I feel like you need to be addressing shit, and now they're just going to be flying off all over the world. And then you've got a huge game when they come back. There's massive. I mean, look at that game they've got. We could do with like fucking somebody really shit at home, couldn't we?
We have got somebody really shit at home.
I know, that was the joke. Don't say that. Don't be fucking speak to.
Listen, fucking hell. If we lose to them, Jesus Christ Almighty, all bets are off on the state the club's in at that stage.
Yeah,
that's all
crisis mode.
We're not going to fucking lose to United at Anfield. Fuck off, no chance.
I'm going to clip that for the next part.
Paul turning into Goldbridge, the Liverpool Goldbridge.
Christ.
Or Goldberg, as my dad always calls him. I was watching that Goldberg the other day. He watches him every single day and still can't remember his name. He still calls him Goldberg every time. Oh, God. I want to ask about our goal and Isak's touch.
No, we didn't mean it.
You're saying no, Paul?
Miscontrolled it.
To start with, I thought yes, and then I watched it back, and I don't think he meant it. No.
So I thought no, then I thought yes, and now I'm back to thinking probably no.
It's that he doesn't look at all. Just the fact that he didn't move made me think, oh, he meant that. But he doesn't know that Gakpo's there. He doesn't look even beforehand, even in the build-up. He's got no sense of where Gakpo is. He stretches for the ball and then it goes away from him. I think he wanted to control it closer so he could spin onto it. It went further than he wanted, but it fortuitously dropped in front of Gakpo.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm probably
there's
75-25 that he didn't mean it, but I wouldn't totally rule it out.
If he looked, I'd say it was deliberate.
Yeah, but even afterwards when he does it, he doesn't give that look as well.
No,
you know what I mean? Like if you're meaning that, the first thing you're doing is, hang on, does that come off? And you're looking. He didn't. He just miscontrolled it. I'd love it to have been what he meant, but nah, not for me.
He gets an assist either way. This is a hit Aquilani on the arse and Stevie buries it type of assist? Or is it a genius assist? That's the question.
You know.
We'll have to ask Stu on that one. That's his area of expertise. There was one more thing I wanted to bring up, and I can't remember what it was now. No, it's gone. It was something about today's game, but yeah, it's gone.
It wasn't the bouquet bucket debacle, was it?
No, it wasn't that.
Oh, nobody wants to hear that.
No, that's the Dom booking for the Cucurella challenge that wound me right up.
Never a foul in a million years. Never mind the yellow card.
He kicks the ball and Cucurella's foot's on the other side of the ball.
That was just your normal 50-50 where both players hit the ball at the same time.
He just boots the ball, and Cucurella doing what Cucurella always does because he's the biggest cunt in the league. Like, he is the worst in the league. I don't think there's anybody. He's surpassed Richarlison. Richarlison's nowhere near as bad as him these days. He may have been at one point, but Cucurella is the biggest cunt in the entire league, closely followed by Neto. He was also trying it on, throwing himself on the floor, holding his face. Then again, Isak did that. That was embarrassing. Isak holding his face in the box. But you know what, though? I will give Isak a pass there, and the reason why I'll give him a pass for that is because of what happened to us the other night and what Slot said afterwards about, like, our players don't do that, and, you know, they got a penalty for doing that, but we don't do it. And Isak's probably thought, fuck this, I've just been hit in the face. It's exactly like what happened the other night. I'm going down. Unfortunately for him, he'd pulled him back by the shirt before that, so there was no way you were going to get a penalty for that regardless.
Let me be clear. Let me be clear on this. Like, the contact in the face thing is never a fucking pen in a million years. If he hadn't pulled him back first, I'd have been screaming like fucking mad for that after what happened the other night. I'm telling you, I'd have been like, that's got to be a... Even though deep down, neither of them should in a million years ever be a penalty.
No.
It's just fucking ridiculous what happened the other night. But yeah, he definitely pulled him back first, didn't he? And it was cleared as well. There wasn't anything like sly about it. He just dragged him back.
No, it was just obvious.
It was embarrassing though. I was just like, fuck off, get up. You know you've pulled him, and like, what are you thinking's going to happen there? You just make yourself look like a tit.
Yeah, don't like it. If you're South American, you can do that. Otherwise, no, it's not acceptable. I was going to say, should we look ahead to United? But it's 2 weeks ago, 2 weeks away, so there's not really much point, is there?
And also, it looks like there could be all sorts of injury issues. We don't know who's going to be available now, isn't, do we?
Yeah, well, as long as Kirk has his fit, that's all Slot's going to care about.
I mean, you've got all the internationals as well, so you don't know what you're going to have at the end of that either, do you?
No.
What's the situation with South America? You know, are they like playing on the fucking Wednesday or something and then getting back really late and all that?
There's only Maka. We've sold all our South Americans. Alisson's injured, so he's not going.
Ali, yeah. Just Maka. But Maka, I mean...
Do you realise though, we're one injury away from Freddie Woodman starting against United?
Fucking hell, that's mad, isn't it?
Hopefully those big massive gloves will fucking protect him.
Fucking hell.
Who would it have been last year? Oh, it was Yaros, wasn't it? Because he actually played, didn't he, last year?
Yeah, he did.
Was it the year before? Don't know.
No,
it was last year. Palace away, come on as a sub.
And did all right, didn't he?
Yeah, he's a good keeper, him.
Just going back to Maka though, although we don't really want to be talking too much about individual players, but I think he's one where we do need to speak about him because he's obviously had the injury problems. He's still doing a little bit of pre-season training and everything. Do we think the way he's playing is because of those circumstances, or do we think there's anything else?
No, I think it's... Do you mean, does he fancy going to Madrid?
No, not necessarily.
Do you mean like what Paul was saying about being confused by what he's being asked to do? Or...
Oh, okay.
More that.
I just think he looks off it, to be honest, but who knows?
Probably a bit of both, I think. Probably a bit of both. Certainly, it doesn't look... His intensity doesn't look right, but I also think they're all confused, so yeah.
The worry for me with him now is it's every part of his game that's not working. You know, you can almost forgive him for making the mistake in the build-up to the goal and then not being able to get back in because he's got those kind of limitations in his game. But his passing, I mean, fucking hell. The things that you would normally hang your hat on for Maka, like even if he's having a bad game, he's not going to fuck that up.
That easy
but he
through
is.
ball that he overhit.
Oh,
he had
my
a shot
God.
that got blocked to come back to him, and he's got an easy through ball to Gakpo, and he just hits it out for a goal kick.
Just
That's
ridiculous stuff like that you never see him do you? Like even when he's having his worst game, that kind of thing he would always do well. But I don't know, it's mad.
Yeah, he just looks well off it, and at this moment in time, Curtis should be starting ahead of him.
I'm not like the biggest Curtis fan as you two know, like, but I thought there was an instant change again with him when he came on. Like instantly, we just had more presence about us. I felt
whenever he comes on, that he has that impact almost every time he plays.
I thought he should have done better with that shot. He didn't look like he fancied hitting that at all.
No,
and it was like,
he had zero confidence.
He didn't
had no confidence,
but he had no choice, so he just lashed at it.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was like a bit of a lift when he came on. He definitely improved us to some degree. But yeah, this is just what positives can we?
There's none.
Can we cling to? Or
no, I genuinely can't see one. I think we're in a serious situation. Definitely.
The only positive thing that I can come up with, and it may not even be right, is like I'm thinking, okay, well, this is probably rock bottom where like 3 defeats in a row. It's going to pick up from now. It can't carry on like this. It might carry on like this. I mean, logic tells me it won't, because you think Arne Slot knows what he's doing. He's a really good coach. He's, what he's done at Feyenoord. I'm sure he had like ups and downs there, and he's come through adversity. I know it's much different here because it's higher profile and all that, but essentially you're still doing the same stuff.
And he's won the league.
Yeah, so I mean, that's what I'm saying. He knows what he's doing. So there's no reason to be like panicking about what we're seeing at the moment. It just feels like we should be panicking because it's just been so unrecognisable, like some of the things we're seeing. But I do think it. Put it this way, I don't think we're going to be talking like this in a month's time. I feel like we'll look back in a month's time and think, oh, remember that fucking moaning pod that we did after that?
Well, do you know what I'd say to you,
Dave?
Dave?
I do think it'll turn around.
I reckon you're probably right, but that's only... I'm not seeing anything that's making me think that right now. It just defies belief. It just defies belief that it could get worse. It is bad. It is bad. This is not like an overreaction to say that losing 3 games in a week with the performances that we've had is really, really shit. It's very, very bad. There's no two ways about it. There is no kind of like dismissing this as you're overreacting. It's just one of those things. We're not overreacting. This is absolutely shit and it needs to get better. So for me, I think you're right. I don't see how it can get worse. If it gets worse, then we're in real fucking trouble.
Yeah.
I don't think it will, but I'm not seeing anything to tell me it's suddenly going to get better. I think he's got it all to do. I think he's got a job on his hands.
Yeah, he has got a job on his hands, definitely. The question is, like, do you think he's going to turn things around and we'll improve? And I do. I've got no reason to not think that. But I agree that there's nothing that you can actually physically see and say, oh, we'll be all right because of that. It's kind of just a faith thing, isn't it? You think, well, he knows what he's doing. He's bound to figure it out. These are like top players. They'll figure it out. And all of this stuff at the moment, we'll put it behind us, and in a month's time things will look completely different, and we'll look back on this and think, fucking hell, all the moaning we did in that pod, but things are all right now. And I do think that's how it will be in a month. But if it's not, fucking hell, that doesn't even bear thinking about.
It goes back to what we were saying before with Slot. My head tells me things will be sound, but my gut is never as confident. And maybe that's a factor of coming off the back of Klopp, because with Klopp it was both. Your head and your heart told you that we were going in the right direction. But yet, my head very much says that we'll be fine for all the reasons that we've talked about. He's an absolute proven winner. Look what he did last season. Look what he did at Feyenoord. His achievements are there for all to see. And he achieved those things despite us having a number of questions about him last season. He still came through. So there's absolutely no reason to think that he won't do the same again this season, because he's got better players.
That's why it feels worse, though, isn't it? You know, if you spend what we spend and you brought in players who everyone's really excited to see, and then you have like results like this, that makes it a lot worse than if we'd have had like the same squad as last year. Because if it's the same squad as last year, you'd be like, okay, this hasn't been good, but we know like who these players are, we know they can do it, we've seen them do it before, and you know, like, it would be fine. There is uncertainty now because there is quite a lot of new players, and although on paper they've improved the team, you know, you look at them and go, yeah, upgrade, maybe not at right back, but other positions certainly you would look at it and think we've upgraded, but they've still got to do it, you know, they've still got to actually prove it. And so far, you know, Ekitike, I don't think we could have asked too much more of him.
Agreed.
But everybody else, I don't think Kirkes has been that bad. But it's not really down to him. It's more to do with the role he's playing. But yeah, I expected him to have been better than he is. Wirtz certainly, you know, not lived up to expectations. Frimpong hasn't. Isak, yeah, but and again we're making excuses. Oh, he hasn't had a pre-season. But whose fucking fault was that? You know, the sympathy's a little bit thin on the ground for me there, because like, he went on strike, that's why he didn't have a pre-season. Now, as it turns out, it was probably the right thing to do to get his move, but still, you know, it's not like he's been injured and he's coming back from that.
There's consequences for it, don't there?
And we're reaping those consequences now, because he's still trying to get back. But how long is it going to take before he's at full speed? I mean, who knows? So all of these things, there's uncertainty there. But I do think in a month's time, a lot of it will have settled down. Other players will have bedded in. Some of the existing players will have got some form back, and things should look a lot brighter than what they look right now. And at least we're still right up there because of the start we made. You know, it's not like we're looking up from 12th place, are we?
I was just sitting back waiting to do a Mick McCarthy then when you were saying, well, it can't carry on and it can't get anywhere. It can't. Just waiting for that.
I should have set you up by saying about like Wirtz playing in the hole. One in the hole.
Yeah. Oh, fucking hell.
Anything else?
No, I think you're right though about like these players don't have like the credit in the bank, do they? You know what I mean? Whenever we've had these well, I mean, fucking hell, when did we last lose 3 in a row? Serious question, actually.
Don't know.
Can't remember. It's three games in a week. Fucking hell. But yeah, we've just become so accustomed to the same players almost, haven't we, over the last number of years, where you know what they're about. We don't know, like, sounds horrible to say, but we don't even know if these players are a good match for each other yet, because we haven't seen it yet. Like, on paper they are, but you don't play games on paper, you got to go out and prove it. Like, so until we see that, you're going to have that worry in the back of your mind, like, are they compatible? You know, they should be, the fucking good players, but you've seen it before. How many times have you seen, like, big clubs, not just anyone, big clubs put together, like, what looks to be a really good team on paper, and it doesn't work for whatever reason, because there's all kinds of different variables in building a team.
Isn't that
so
why
you can't be 100% certain? Well, yeah.
It's not just a case of, like, going, he's a good player, let's get him in. You know, there's so much goes into it. That's why I kind of relaxed about it, because I think they must know what they're doing.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
Yeah, but some of the stuff we're talking about there's not things that are quantifiable though. You might have
this is where it comes
players.
back to the manager for me. This is back on the manager for me. That's why
relationships
so
on the pitch. They're not quantifiable. So that's the thing. You have to build them, and you hear managers say, don't they, about shared moments and shared experiences. They have to have those shared things on the pitch for them to build that kind of rapport and that relationship, and then it all just spirals and grows from there. But all of these have come in and just not got off to like a good start at the same time. Do you know what I mean? It's all like just negativity for them. Like, think about the likes of Isak and Wirtz. They're thinking, oh yeah, I'm going into a dressing room. They're champions. They've won everything. It's going to be boss. And then right now they're on the floor, aren't they? Thinking, fucking hell, this is not what I expected. Yeah. So he's got a huge job on his hands to pick everybody up. Yeah. He's got to pick everyone up and get them like going in the same direction. And it's easier said than done. That.
The one thing I'd say about him is he won't wilt. He's got a steeliness about him.
Yeah, he'll face up to her.
And he's not the sort of fella who'll be knocked off course.
He won't panic at all.
No, exactly. It just, what worries me is I'm not convinced he actually knows what he wants them to do at the moment. It just looks so confused. I mean, we're going over the same ground again now. We've already talked about this at length. But I don't think he's not lacking in terms of resolution or in terms of focus or, he won't be overawed. He won't panic.
I want to see a clear change, though, mate. Like, I've just had enough of this slow shit. Like,
yeah, me too.
If we're not gonna like play brilliant football, just fucking run. Do you know what I mean? Like, there were games
all over teams.
Just fucking run. Just go into the game and think, you know what? Whether I have my best game or not in terms of technical ability with the ball and everything, I'm gonna fucking run more than you. And it's just too often for me at the minute. It's passive. It's like sitting in and closing gaps rather than trying to put pressure on the ball. Now go after the fucking ball. Like, the higher you win the ball up, fucking hell, if you've watched us over the last 10 to 15 years, you know the value you get in winning the ball high up. Like, sometimes we're just retreating into our shape a little bit and thinking, like, yeah, we'll close the gaps and then we'll think about what to do. Fuck that. Sometimes it's just having desire to go and get the fucking ball.
I thought that was why we were getting this bigger, better squad. I thought it was about, so we've got the legs to do that, we can rotate. So we can roll all over teams. That's what's frustrating me. I thought, he's going for it. He wants to. He's talked about having two in every position. And he said he's got them now. So surely what that allows is for you to rotate to maintain the intensity.
But then by rotating, it takes longer for the continuity for new players.
You don't have the rhythm and the relationship.
But he's not just rotating, is he? He's chopping and changing. He's putting players out of position. He's doing all kinds. He's probably
gone from one extreme to the other. When really we only wanted him to make a slight little change in what he was doing, and he's fucking gone completely the other way, hasn't he? And you're like, whoa, hang on, it didn't mean that much.
See, it's almost like being manager of Liverpool's really fucking hard, isn't it?
You know what I need? I need him to, and you don't really get this enough in press conferences, I don't think. See, I think one thing about Slot is if he gets asked a question about tactics and like what he's trying to do or what went wrong today, he gives you like a detailed answer. He'll go right into the weeds with it, and he'll say stuff which a lot of it goes like right over my head, but he'll be talking about what they did with the press and it's not what they usually do and they've changed to do this. So he will go into details and explain stuff like that. I want someone to sit down with him and really ask him questions about what we're doing tactically, what's he trying to do, what's he seeing, what's not working. Yeah. I'd like to know, and I'm sure I'd feel a lot better hearing him explain it to me.
Definitely.
Because we're not really getting that, and that's not his fault. I don't expect him to come out and just start talking about that. It needs to be brought out of him by the right questions. But obviously it's a break now, so we're not really going to get anything like that. I'd like to see Josh Williams sit down with him and just go right into the nitty gritty of the tactics and that, and he can just ask him whatever he wants.
He's not going to do that.
I know he's not, but something like that would be great because it would, Josh would be asking all the right questions about that stuff, and and I do think Slot would enjoy discussing that little tactics and stuff, but we're never going to get that. But I do feel like something like that would make me feel a lot better about it, and you'd be more relaxed and you'd be able to sit back and go, okay, yeah, that's what he's trying to do and it's not working, but in time hopefully that'll bed in and it will start working.
You want to hear things that give you the confidence that no, it's just a matter of time.
Yeah. So you can follow the direction of travel, you can see it emerge on the pitch.
Because otherwise it's kind of blind faith, probably too strong, but he has only been here a year. That's the thing, this is only his second year. It's not like we've got 5 or 6 years where we can, you've got that faith because you've seen him go through this before. He hasn't been through this.
And he inherited
this is
an
new.
incredible squad of players. Let's be clear, he did. And that's not me taking away anything from him. That's just a fact. He said it himself a number of times.
Yeah,
so
it's not blind faith because he won the title.
But then he's dismantled
got
it to bring in his own players, and so that also kind of adds pressure as well. It's like, well, you won the league with Klopp's team. Now this is your team supposed to be playing.
And all you did all year was moan about it, like we did as well.
Yeah.
Like, So now you've got your players. We expect to see like a change and an improvement, and maybe over time that's what we'll get. I guess that's what we're saying. Yeah. Wait and see. But my first question for him on the tactical side would be, why, when the other team aren't pressing you and putting pressure on the ball, does your goalkeeper and at times your centre half just stand there and put the fucking studs on the ball? I don't get that.
They're trying to put
we
them
do
on,
that,
but they're not.
It doesn't work.
But the point is they're not. Yeah. Like, they're literally not even attempting to do it. So why would you then just stop and stand still?
Yeah.
Because all you're doing is killing game and time and momentum of the game. I hate that. I fucking hate it.
I hate
it. If the other team aren't pressing for me, then you move the ball quicker. You don't slow the fucking game down. You're playing into their hands by slowing the game down. I don't understand it.
What
you
I
move
want
the ball
to
quicker.
Is what we did in the first half against Everton. Because they weren't really doing that, and we just went at them. We played like at a high tempo. It was quick.
I want to see that all the time. I don't ever want to see slow football.
Just fucking move the ball fast.
Just roll all over teams.
I had a training this morning with my lads where they were having a game at the end, and it fucking done my head in. Within about 3 or 4 minutes I went in and I just put them all on 2-touch, and then they turned into fucking Brazil 1970, and I was like, there you go, look what happens when you play with a little bit of urgency. Suddenly they were having to move the ball quick because I'd put a fucking restriction on, you're only allowed 2 touches. So they didn't even have time.
If they take more than 2, what do you do?
Free kick.
What you're saying
to the
is
other
you
team.
want Slot's job, don't you?
Curtis would be the most penalised player in the history of football.
Oh, Curtis would be the first player I'd get rid of. Fucking hell. See ya. Transfer list, is that even a thing nowadays? Do you even put people on transfer list?
On Footy Manager. I don't know about in real life.
Anyway.
Shit, isn't it, boys? It's fucking shit. Fucking hate losing.
And I definitely don't want to do an international break pod. Just want a fucking break from it.
Well, we need some kind of United prediction though.
We'll win. There you go. There's my prediction. We'll win. They're fucking shit. We're at home. We'll react. We'll win.
Prediction? Pain.
But for who, Cammy?
Unfortunately, maybe for us. No, I can't.
Draw. I'm going draw.
Fuck
Cagey
off.
Draw. Yeah.
Honestly. Oh,
yeah.
So I would say either, as Brian
We're
said,
always shit after international breaks as well.
Either
and
a draw.
The confidence is through the fucking floor.
It's either going to be a draw or we're going to win by 3 or 4. It's going to be one or the other.
Telling you now, 3-0.
I don't think it's going to be a narrow, close win. It's either going to be like a really frustrating draw or, and I'd lean towards this, we bounce back and, we hit them for like 3 or 4 and it's...
We're not dropping points against them at Anfield. They are fucking pathetic.
Yeah, you'd like to think so, but I remember saying all of this last year and look what happened.
No, we'll win. We'll win comfortably. That doesn't mean we'll be out of the woods. There'll be further wobbles ahead, but we'll beat that shower of shite. Definitely, 100%. Clip that one up, Dave.
Yeah, I'll clip that and clip the other one.
Right, is that us, boys?
Yeah, I think so. Nothing else to cover, is there?
No.
No, nothing jumps out at me. I think we need to just end it there. We've been going for what?
Going on 2 hours.
Over an hour and a half. Yeah, too long. Too long, really. We've basically done longer than the match. It doesn't feel like longer, though. That match felt like, oh, fucking hell. God. So, come on, give me something positive to end it, because...
I thought I did. We'll batter the Manx next game. You two weren't having it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you did. Sorry, Paul. Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, we're going to batter the Manx. Brownie, change your prediction.
No, we don't have to watch them for another 2 weeks. There's your positive.
Yeah, sounds. Okay, on that note then. Okay, if you've made it this long, thanks for listening. And yeah, we'll be back after the United game, hopefully in a much better mood than we were tonight.